Hey, what's up? Hey, now this one, since we hit a little 80s last week, I thought I'd double down and take us back to the Quad Cities. T-Lo, Marky Lowe, Sleep, Vaughn, Pat Townsend, Tim Bailey. I met some great dudes while I was in college. Peter Gabriel. So one of the things happened to me in college, man. I grew up on the South Side, and my music wasn't broad. I listened to WGCI, I listened to WBMX. So I listen to all black stations. Every once in a while I hear B96. When I got to college, my roommate, Tim Bailey, we met on a visit. He had a gold chain on, number 24. I wore 42. So of course we got on. He was a Lakers fan. So one night we were sitting around the room. We had just got my boy Tom Collis had ran and got us some 40s from Lee's across the street. So we got a couple of 40s. We was in the room listening to music. He's from Ottawa. I'm from Chicago. So you know we got two different types of music. We sit down and we say, hey, let's just start sharing, each other's music. So we start going into the bag of tapes. And we just started playing music. And Tim's probably the guy that brought my musical horizon. I just started listening to a lot of different stuff. Hanging out with the boys in the jungle, listening to Guns N' Roses. That was Peter Gabriel, Sledgehammer. So just a long story short, man, that really helped me get into music more than what I already was. And I appreciate you, Tim. So anyway, so that was the 80s, Sledgehammer, Peter Gabriel. Great song. We used to rock it down there in the Quad Cities. It was a great time. So this week, we back. We're doing Michelada. It's a little early, so we're going to have breakfast. Beer, Michelada juice. That's good, too. Get your vitamins. Wild week. So Memphis fired their coach a couple weeks ago. Denver fires Mike Malone with 3 games left in the season. Maybe one of the wildest firings I've ever seen. Still not 100% sure why. And they fired the GM. A lot of rumblings on why. They say they just didn't get along. Mike Malone, old school coach, right? He gonna do it his way. I thought he was good down there. He won 24 months ago. They won the NBA. They won the chip. Like, same thing in Milwaukee. Like, these guys, the rope is so short. But they say he wasn't getting along with the GM. They were clashing, and I'm sure they were clashing on, sounds like the young players that they had on the roster were not getting enough playing time, and he was getting minutes to Russ. Then you take into account the debacle where Russ missed the layup and made the foul. That's one game. You think about Russ played 70 games this year. Russ won him a lot of games. He's probably been their biggest contributor off the bench. All these games Murray was out. He started. Denver's still number 4 in the West. The team is horrible defensively. You can't blame all that on Russ. Like, you take 5 guys to play defense. And if you look at the lineup, there's really only 2 that are capable, that are defenders, and that's Gordon, maybe Murray when he plays. Joker ain't really a defender. Michael Porter ain't really a defender. You miss Caldwell Pope, right? You miss Bruce Brown. That's what happened to your defense. You miss those guys. It always comes back to you got to have guys that can defend on the perimeter. But anyway, so Mike is gone. Some people try to blame it on Russ, that Mike was showing favoritism to Russ. But Russ been in the league 16 years. He gets some benefits. I'm sorry. He gets some. I'm always be on Team Russ. But anyway, we'll talk about Denver in a little bit. That's just wild. You fire a guy, been with you 10 years, winning as coach in Denver Nuggets history, and you give him the can with 3 games left in the season. And they were talking about, well, we don't want if we win some games to overshadow what's going on. So what, man? Finish the season out. Y'all deal with that in the offseason. But again, these owners, man, they wilding lately. But anyway, we had a zillion games this week that had a lot of impact on the seedings going into playoffs. So Sunday, probably got 20 games. NBA TV is running all day, giving updates because there's a lot of implications going to happen on these last games, especially in the West. The East is kind of locked in. We'll get into that. But in the West, teams can go from 5 to a play-in game tomorrow, depending on winning and losing. So tomorrow's going to be good. So lock in tomorrow. Lock in. So I'm going to run through some of the games. We're going to talk about some of the players, some big wins. And then we're going to get into just how this is going to look, what I think things are going to look like coming out tomorrow. Detroit has been trying to help themselves. They had a couple of tough losses, man. Zach and DeMar DeRozan put 80 up on them. 37 for DeMar, 43 for DeRozan. Cage back. Detroit did get a good win over the Knicks this week. So that helped them, but then they turned around and lost to the Bucks. They needed that Bucks win. They're 2 games out, and they finished the season against the Bucks tomorrow. Lakers kind of helped themselves. They've locked in the 3 seed. They beat the Thunder. Everybody start oohing and eyeing. They played. If you watch that game against the Thunder, the first one, SGA had 42. The Lakers played about as perfect of a game you can play. They shot around 60%. The 3-point barrage, they went crazy from 3. They were 22 or 40 from 3-point line. Like, it was perfect. They're not going to do that. And sure enough, 2 games later, the Thunder run them out the gym. But the Lakers did win some games they needed. They went down to the Mavs. Luka's return, emotional return. If you haven't seen the tribute, go watch it. It was just it was well deserved for Luka. He got a little teary-eyed on the bench watching, man. This may be one. He gonna get this every time he come home, man. It'll be a long time before the Dallas forgets about Luka. I think only a championship is gonna make them forget. But emotional return, he dropped 45, 31 in the first half. AD was back. AD played, had 14 or so. Dallas is healthy. They're gonna make a little bit of a. They're gonna make the playoffs. I think I got them at the 8th seed. They'll make the playoffs. That's about it. So you get some games. Dallas in the playoffs. Next year, Kyrie will be back, fully healthy. They are probably a 4th, 5th seed team when healthy. They're not healthy right now. Minnesota really needs wins to help themselves because they are sitting. Right now, they're sitting on the outside looking in they're 7. But they lost. This game hurt them. They could have been locked in at 6. They had a 24-point lead against the Bucks, and they blew it. Bucks have won 7 in a row. They're helping themselves. They're not moving up far. They'll lock in and stay at 5, but the Bucks have won 7 in a row, and they're playing well. Portis is back. I told you Kevin Porter was going. He got a little psycho last night, but I think 4 of the last 5 games he's 20 plus points. So I told you he was going to be a factor. The kid can score. He can play. He just got to keep his mental right. If he does that, he's different, right? He's a different player. So that's Minnesota. So we'll talk about where they are. Heartbreaker. If you didn't see the Spurs and Warriors, I watched a lot of basketball. This week was good. Got a lot of games in this week. Spurs Warriors, late night game. Spurs had the lead. Warriors had a good lead, ended up losing it. Harrison Barnes for the 3. You forget, man. The Warriors went from Harrison Barnes to Andrew Wiggins to now Jimmy Butler. So that's been their 3 for the last 10 to 12 years, man. And I looked at Harrison Barnes. He did get a ring in 2015, man. Unsung hero. Went to Sacramento, been solid. Harrison Barnes, he's been in the league 13 years now. He's averaging 76 games a season, man. He's an Iron Man. He's just been solid. Out of Iowa. I think he's out of Des Moines, Iowa, somewhere like that. And I hated when he left the Warriors, but he's had a great career, man. He has something he can hang his hat on. He ain't a Hall of Famer or nothing, but he got a chip. He's got paid, and he's played a lot of basketball, man. So shout out to Harrison Barnes, and he put one into the Warriors, man. So I know deep down inside that probably felt good to him because, he missed out on a ring or two, right? So yeah, hell, 4, 3. I mean, so shout out to Harrison Barnes. Good win for San Antonio. You think about them next year, though, man. San Antonio's going to make some noise. Wemby will be back. Fox will be back. They got a nice group of rookies. Probably get something in the draft this year. So I like the Spurs, man. I like the Spurs. Another good game. Again, Minnesota. After blowing out when they came back and beat Memphis, your boy Ja dropped a grenade now. So he's not shooting guns. Now he's throwing grenades at the bench. So I don't know what's going on with Ja, man. Ja better watch it. Ja could be out the league, man. He going to stop playing with Adam Silver. Adam not the guy to play with. So they came back. They won. Ja had 36. Ant-Man went off for 44. A lot of big games. We'll talk about the games. Minnesota scored 52 points in the third quarter. What kind of defense are you playing to give up 52 points in the quarter? That's insane. That might have been the highest quarter of the year. And also, speaking of high games, man, we did not get our 300-point game. I know I thought we were going to get it. I got 1 day left. We got to, 296? So it was worth a shot. Next year, we're going to get it next year for sure. Clippers, Rockets. Now, I'm telling you, Clippers scare me. If there's any team that I'm scared of right now going into the playoff, and the other team should be too, is the Clippers. You got to look at the Clippers. They have it all. They don't have a lot of weaknesses, right? They got scores, they got size, they have some defenders, and now they're healthy and they're playing well. They knocked off the Rockets, beat them by 17. Harden had 35. Oh, and Bogdanovic is back. Bogdanovic. That's a tough name. But the kid is nice, man. I liked him in Atlanta. He can shoot. He's back now. That's 15, 17 off the bench. Easy. Any night. Easy. Zubac had a triple-double that game, too. Y'all, I like my boy Zubac, man. And I got Zubac Jr. and Zach Edey coming up, man. He's on the rise. So we had that. Then last night, we had a couple of games that the Rockets gave the Lakers a win. Nobody played because the Rockets were locked up to 2 seed. So the Lakers got the win, and that helped them lock up the 3 seed. So the Lakers are in. Lakers are good. The Nuggets are still fighting to keep a little distance on the 1, 2, 3. They'll have the 4 spot, but they only up a game. So depending on what happens tomorrow, they could find themselves down a spot or tied. And I think the tiebreaker, they could be tied with the Clippers, and then the tiebreaker would go to the Nuggets. So we'll have to see from that one. So with back to the Nuggets and this Mike Malone firing. So the first game, so Murray didn't play. Normally when Murray doesn't play, Russ starts. They didn't start Russ that game. This is the first game after he gets fired. They start Pickett. And Pickett played well. This is one of the rookies. So that tells me that a lot of this was about playing the rookies. But he played them that game. Russ's minutes were down. You look to last night, Pickett plays 10 minutes, started the game before, Russ is back to 24 minutes. So I think for me, all of this came down to these guys playing the rookies. And Calvin Booth probably drafted these guys, and Mike Malone more than likely was like, I don't want these bums. Here are the picks that I want. And Calvin Booth went and drafted these guys. And it happens all the time, right? GMs think they know something, and the coach wants something different, and now you got to fight for the next 3 years of that kid's rookie contract. But nonetheless, that's it. We had a lot of 40 balls this week. Pause. Luka had 45. SGA had 42 over the Lakers. The game, Zach, he beat Detroit. He had 43. Joker had 41, 15, and 13. Finished the season averaging a triple-double. Only the third guy to ever do it. And we know Big O, Russ, and the Joker. So shout out to the Joker, man. You won't get the MVP, but great season. We talked about Ant with 44. D-Book had 40, which could be Book's last game in Phoenix, man. Book might be out next year. They're stuck with Bradley Beal. Only way for Phoenix to free up some money is to try to get rid of Book and Kevin Durant. Now, Book is probably the more valuable because he's younger. As good as Kevin Durant is, Kevin Durant probably going to want close to $60 million next year. So unless it's a situation where you can insert KD and get you a championship, it's going to be rough for KD to find a home next year unless somebody looking at a salary dump, sign him and do something. But I think we may have seen the end of that for Phoenix, man. They tried something, it didn't work. Kobe White, shout out. He was back. He had a couple of I'm not going to say bad games. He was on such a run scoring about earlier at the end of March, that we got to expect these big games. Took a little fall, fell off to about 20 a game. He hit 37 the other night. There was somebody else, Shaedon Sharpe. I didn't talk about him for most improved player, but he's probably in that conversation too with Devontae Hunter. With Austin Reeves and those guys that I talked about last week. He should be in there. One of my rookies, 2 rookies had good games this week. Filipowski from Duke, 30 and 18. He's going to be nice next year. I think his second sophomore season is going to be great. Alex, the number 1 pick, had 38. Coming around. But his thing is now consistency. Can he build on that in year 2 and just become a more consistent player? Now, he's shown signs of, I'm not going to say greatness, but he's shown signs that he can score and he's talented. Now it's all about putting together and being consistent throughout the season. Now you've had 1 year in the league now. Let's go to the offseason, put in some work, not just be a consistent scorer for the Hawks. So that we had a good week of scoring. Everybody's fighting. So we didn't see teams kind of start sandbagging it till the last 2 games. People had a lot to play for. Now when we look at where we are in the seedings, so for the East, things are pretty much set for the East. We already had a play-in game set. Orlando going to play Atlanta. I got Orlando winning that one. Then we have Chicago and Miami. I'm going to take the Bulls on that one. So top 1 to 6, Cleveland's locked in. Cleveland not playing that great, though. They didn't finish off the season too strong. Whereas Boston was running it. I think they might be 10 out of 11. And it's all systems go. Kendrick Perkins likes Boston to repeat. I haven't really decided where I am on the championship yet, but I think I'm leaning toward Boston over OKC. Brunson is back with New York, but now they're just trying to get him back. They lost 3 in a row. Just trying to get him back into the flow of the game. Mitchell Robinson's back. New York has a shot. They will probably end up playing Detroit. That'll be the number 3 versus 6 matchup. That's going to be a good one. I'm going to go with Detroit because I think Cade matches up well with Brunson. And then you got Indiana, Milwaukee. So if I look at the East, how this is going to finish out, the playoffs, the first round matchup should go like this. Cavs versus the Bulls, with the Bulls, as I said, beating Miami. We'll have Boston, Orlando. That ought to be a great series. You'll have New York, Detroit, definitely a great blue-collar series. And then Indiana, Milwaukee. So that's how I see the first round shaping up after tomorrow. Let's see how good I am, see if that plays out. So that's the East. Now when we flip over to the West, it's still wide open. There's a lot to happen tomorrow. That's why I really want to get locked into these games, man. OKC, it's not even close, right? It's over. We know that's locked in. They're still winning, right? They're on another winning streak. Houston has locked in. They gave guys a rest. I don't know if they'll play. Houston plays Denver tomorrow, so I don't know if they'll play some of the guys maybe in the first half, sit them down. The Lakers are locked in. The Lakers have, I didn't miss who the Lakers play. Lakers have one tomorrow. Then Denver, we talked about Denver Rockets. They need to win. So if Denver wins, that'll help them stay in that 4th spot. Clippers are at 5, and the Clippers play the Warriors, who are currently in 6. The loser of that game is probably going to end up in the play-in game. So and the Warriors don't want that. Because that would mean the Warriors would end up playing OKC or Houston in the first round. So the Warriors need to win that game. Then at 7, you have Minnesota. Minnesota plays the Jazz. So a Minnesota win And the loser of that LA Clippers Golden State game, that's how Minnesota is going to end up in 6. The loser of that game would end up in 7. Memphis has an outside chance, but it would take a Minnesota loss and they could move up to 7, maybe 6 on a tiebreaker. But that's on the outside looking in. Then Sacramento and Dallas are kind of locked in. That'll be the 9-10 game, and I got Dallas going over that one. So when I go out west, this is how I see the first round stacking up in the West. We'll have OKC versus Dallas. We'll have Houston versus Golden State. I think Golden State's going to end up in 7. They'll win that matchup, whoever. If they play Memphis, Golden State will win 7. We'll have the Lakers and Minnesota. That'll be a great series. And then we're going to have Denver and the Clippers, another great series. So that's how I sort of see the first round playing out. So it ought to be pretty good. So let's see. So short show. I'm actually, if you're out in the city today, I'm about to head to Chicago, but I want to get y'all in for this. Let's see tomorrow. Lock in. I'm gonna get this to you today. We're gonna lock in tomorrow. We got some great games. Like I said, it's like 20 games on and some big games that really matter in the West. Mikey and JJ, I want to see this. The Detroit-Milwaukee game may not as mean as much, but I think Milwaukee's gonna play everyone to finish the season strong, and I think Detroit might come the same way to just get ready for these playoffs. We got the Clippers Warriors, that'll be good. Denver Rockets, if Rockets decide to play a few people going into the playoffs to get warmed up. So let's see where we end up. So hey, once again, thank y'all for another great. We made it through the season. We're gonna come back. So probably by the time we get back, we will have the first round locked in. We might have the play-in games will be done because that happens Tuesday and Wednesday, and then we'll go into the first round. So by this time next week, we'll have our first round, have a couple of games under our belt, and let's just see where we are. And then we'll start predicting how this is going to play out, who our champions are, go through all our awards, and we're going to talk about our all-NBA teams. All right? So that's what we're going to do. So, hey, once again, as always, I appreciate y'all. Have a great weekend. Enjoy these games. And again, man, thank you all for watching, subscribing. Please tell your friends, man, and let's enjoy it. Have a great one. Bye.